Welcome back to Fuck Planet Fitness. The story is HD Death.
The best kind.
Yeah.
Harold Donald Death. The third.
Yeah, it was the best-selling author of War of the Worlds, wasn't it?
Possibly.
HD Death. That Sam was an old-fashioned, as you could... Alright, I feel like we've jumped in halfway through the fucking story. That Sam was
maybe it's like we missed, like, so it starts with death, and D-Death, and HD Death.
It'll be H-double-D Death.
That Sam was as old-fashioned as you could get, especially when it came to technology. He refused to own a microwave, a cordless phone, CD player, like living in medieval times. I don't think not having a CD player is akin to living in medieval times.
You know,
just like no
squalor.
Just like,
in fact, like you've seen Game of Thrones, it's kind of like that without the magic. Like, oh, we're focusing on fixing everything. A fucking microwave.
So, he's got no microwave, no phone. Throws his food on the ground, doesn't clean it up.
I think that
dies of dysentery at 25. There's a creepypasta that's just been added called He Knows, and I really hope it's just that famous green text. I had to fucking screen grab that really quickly. Print screen. How do I save a print screen on this piece? Man, he had this wall full of records that he'd go on about for hours, making us listen to golden oldies when we were supposed to be playing cards. It wasn't so unusual, holding on to the past.
Were they playing Yu-Gi-Oh?
Playing the shitty games that suck ass.
He wouldn't have a microwave, but he'd have his dual disc.
But one thing that always bugged me was that TV of his. High definition was all the rage, but here was Sam with his black and white RCA from the Stone Age. This guy's not great at history,
no.
is he? Biggest problem in the medieval ages, was
the lack
of cordless phones. Fucking TVs in the Stone Age, mate. I tell you, it's literally watching the Flintstones.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a Flintstones. He's got a fucking
but made of actual rock. Still better than the author of Origin of Laughing Jack. Still more historically accurate. I mean, you had to turn a dial to change channels. Yeah, it's really not that big of a deal.
It's really, like, I mean, oh man, it's way worse than that fucking touch-sensitive shit where you're like, where's the button?
Yeah.
How do I turn that? Oh wait, a volume. Oh wait, it's an AVO for. Oh man, I wish I had a fucking button or a switch.
And there were only 13 of them. I don't even know how he got any kind of signal. He used to say that God kept the shows coming. Maybe he believed the spirit of his dead wife, Agnes, was beaming cable down from heaven.
Maybe he was a fucking idiot.
Like, I'm sure he didn't believe that.
Like, are you just being a sarky prick?
Yeah.
Like, why are you friends with this person?
Way to just attack the guy's fucking dead wife as well.
Maybe that bitch whore of a wife he loves so very much is using her magic ghost powers to give him entertainment. What a faggot.
He's saying, he's at the wake, as he's saying this. Like.
We all, as we sit here putting Agnes, we all are thinking the same thing. What a bitch. Let's all take time to piss in her grave. Wait, just me?
Come to think of it, this technology business all started when she died. Makes sense, I guess. The loss of a loved one can change us in odd ways. I think
turn us into a Luddite.
I think Sam wanted to stop time, or go backwards even, but there was never any sadness there.
Yeah, but if he really wanted to do that, then he would need a time machine. Clearly, he's wrong.
It must have been about respect. Respect for things that had gotten old and were being forgotten. I'm sorry I ever stepped in to fix what I thought was broken. 2009 rolled around, and the time had finally come for standard definition to take a hike. But Sam was completely out of the loop.
Stop with all this fucking...
They're switching everyone over to HD, I told him. You won't be able to watch anymore unless you do the switch. That's not how it happened!
You need a Nintendo Switch,
which
hasn't been invented yet.
No, they turned off the... They changed analog signals to digital signals. You don't need an HD TV. You just need a digital one.
Yeah, unless he's really interested in watching the HD channels.
Or one that has a digital aerial. It's not like, oh, your CRT TV upstairs, that won't work anymore because the screen resolution is too low. That's not what that means, you fucking tard.
Yeah, you turn it on and it's just going to be 8-bit pixels.
I don't know if that was really true. I really should read ahead before I lose my temper. But Sam said it wouldn't matter anyway. I tried to get him to call the cable company and talk to them about it, but he insisted he didn't have a provider. Like using cable like it's the 90s, but it's 2009 and switching over to digital. What? Like, I get that this guy's obsessed with the past, but like, call the cable company to do the switch, really? Like, it's digital. You don't need cable. I'm barely old enough to remember cable TV.
Yeah.
Like literally one person I knew had cable.
Like for me, it was always like stick a Sky dish on the fucking roof and.
Yeah.
Like satellite. You know, Jesus Christ. Call the cable. Do cable TV even still exist?
Fuck if I know. It makes more like doing everything through satellite seems a bit more easier than digging up
Comcast. Yeah, I want you to update and modernise. So call this antiquated service.
Here, borrow my rotary phone.
I asked him where his cable bills came from, and he just looked at me. Maybe I was overstepping as a friend and neighbour, but I honestly thought I was doing the man a service. Wouldn't he be happier with a crystal clear colour on a big screen? 20 years ago, Agnes died. 20 years was long enough, but what the hell did I know? Time is different for people like Sam, people who've lost their spouses but have to go on living. The same thing happened to my dad. It's no wonder I never married.
After your mum died, he refused to switch over to fucking.
Dad's still using dial-up.
Yeah.
It's no wonder you never married. It's no wonder. Because you're a complete twat, that's why.
After my dad died, he never went to it. He could always just play his Game Boy. Not even a Game Boy Color. Because I'm 20.
Every year.
No one's going to get it. It's 10 years old.
I think it's the same joke now, but it's just 30.
Yeah. It's not as funny now.
No, it's at 20 just sounds funnier.
Because I'm 20.
I am 20 years old. Every year, Sam went fishing with his brother for 2 weeks up in Maine. Being his most trusted neighbour, I had a key to his place in case of emergencies.
You know, I like the idea of I'm going to call it now. Well, not call it now, but I like the idea because he's going up to Maine, and anything I know about Maine is from Stephen King books. Something freaky is going to happen at the thing, and he's going to come back.
There's going to be some really one-dimensional bullies.
Yeah. And then probably a clown or a spider attacks him.
And then he'll tweet something really insensitive about Republicans in a train accident.
God, I hate Twitter so fucking much.
But that year, I abused his trust and did something I'll regret for the rest of my life. I called up the cable company.
You bastard.
Son of a bitch. Worse than what I suggested. That thing that was cut.
Posed as Sam and had cable installed in his house. Because even though it was 2009... I didn't want him to modernise too much. I didn't want his TV... We were neighbours.
You go into this slowly.
And I didn't want his TV signal to be better than mine. I even bought him a brand new 32-inch television and had them put the bills in my name. Sounds like a good deed, right?
No.
Totally illegal. Yeah, it's like he...
fraud
and also just going against his wishes.
Yeah, also reverse mugging.
Yeah, totally illegal. But a good deed nonetheless. We all thought it was brilliant and exciting, imagining Sam's face. All of you, so several people were involved in this fucking charade, and nobody went, "This is a bad idea."
How he's
big old-fashioned guy, and he likes his black and white CRT TV and everything.
Let's just smash it up. Let's just burn a picture of his wife. And while we're at it, this wedding ring, throw it away.
Imagining Sam's face when he would walk in and see the future had dropped right into his living room. Hell. We threw a little party of sorts in his house to celebrate. What a bunch!
We didn't invite him.
What a bunch of jackasses we were, patting ourselves on the back like we'd saved the guy from the oppressive regime known as Standard Definition.
From the oppressive regime known as communism.
I placed his beloved hunk of junk right next to that thin black beauty for a nice juxtaposition.
Oh, shut up.
The old and the new, side by side. I knew he wouldn't be able to resist at least trying it out. I imagine it's something like James Cameron would do.
Like, be a cunt.
Yeah, to his neighbours, break into someone's house and give them a massive HDTV. And...
Just put Avatar on there going, look at my creation!
No. He hires people to break into and then surgically alter them to Navi.
He was just like, oh, film is shit, digital's the future, fuck off. You cunt.
Pretentious cunt.
Sam returned late one rainy night from his fishing trip. I'd been waiting up so I could see his reaction, but I was dog-tired by that point. I looked out my kitchen window into his living room. The TV wasn't visible, but I knew it was on from the reflections on the glass. Man, I so wanted to call him and yell, "Surprise!" But it was more fun imagining what he must have been thinking. Maybe he thought God did it. Ha ha! The trusting, superstitious fool! They're one of the worst protagonists we've had in a long time. He's not quite dating game level.
I was going to say, it's
not quite the Burger King.
Yeah, it's not the Burger King who's oh man, I'm single. That's way worse than your leukemia.
I waited for something to happen. Was he going to call and accuse me, or thank me? The phone never rang, so I assumed he didn't want to wake me up. I wondered if he'd called the police, but nobody showed. The waiting was driving me nuts. If I hadn't been ready to conk out, I would have gone over there. I wish I had. Early the next morning, I phoned him up. It just rang. No answering machine. Fucking old-fashioned bastard. So I went and banged on his door. I could hear the TV, but nothing else. It's not like I couldn't go right in, but I sensed something was wrong, and I just wanted Sam to come and tell me everything was okay. I figured he knew it was me who orchestrated the whole thing, and that he was just angry. Apprehensive as all hell, I went in, leaving the door wide open. A nervous violin crescendo escalated to a climax, and then vanished, just like the editor's notes for the film version, followed by a horrible scream that startled me something fierce. It sounded like one of those slasher films. I don't recall Sam being a fan, but with over 100 channels, he was bound to stumble across all kinds of garbage. Yes, slasher films are terrible. Your writing's much better. Yeah. I called out his name from the front hallway as I crept towards the living room. When he didn't respond, I thought he might have passed out from watching TV all night. But then I noticed his old RCA had fallen onto the floor, face down. Not a good sign. As I gently lifted it back onto the table, there was Sam's body, laying right next to it.
It was like it's face down, it's not a good sign, so if it was standing in the opposite direction...
Yeah, it'd be fine.
It'd be absolutely...
You can fix that.
Yeah.
The screen's not going to crack, Face down as well. He had one hand clutching his heart, and the other reaching for something, probably the TV. But with the way he fell, I'm not sure which one. I quickly turned over to check his pulse. Needless to say, he was gone. That face still haunts me. His mouth agape, and his eyes all bugged out and bloodshot. It's not something you forget easily. After the cops showed up, I spent a lonely night in jail. No charges were filed. Yes, I was technically a criminal, but the coroner said that Sam had died of a heart attack.
Must have had the bejesus scared out of him by something,
he suggested, and with Sam's age and apparent heart condition, well, you can see where this is going.
That was the medical definition. For
yep, the bejesus scared out.
Everybody shut the fuck up, because this. I guess high definition is just too real for some people. And that's not the ending, it keeps going. They should have just wrapped it up there, because it
will end in a high note.
That's definitely the bottom to how bad this can get, so... Although in retrospect, knowing what I know about the man, there could be more to it than that. I still have Sam's old television up on a shelf, just robbed it off him. The screen's cracked a little, but the picture's okay. Sometimes I could swear it turns on by itself when I'm not in the room. Maybe he's trying to tell me something. I just go up to it and say, "Sorry, buddy," and give it 2 light pats on the side. I stand corrected, it can get worse. I mean it too. I'm really sorry, Sam. I guess you're with Agnes now. Make sure to keep the shows coming. There's 2 comments, let's have a look at them.
Oh, either of them, that's retarded.
This guy's just like, I read this on the WW before. I don't know what that is. I read this on the Wind Waker before, and it was good there. And the sly adjustments you made here made it better, I think. Not really all too creepy, but it wasn't intended to be. On a website called the CREEPYPASTA Wiki. It was a good, interesting story overall, and a good read for me. I believe I shall look into more of your stories. You're a talented author for sure. And then the author simply replies, much appreciated. So what did we think of HD Death?
This guy thinks he's the fucking dog's bollocks at writing. With the way he writes things.
Yeah.
He thinks he's written something amazing.
Kind of sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was an old man who liked his old stuff. So I broke into his house, gave him a new TV, and then he died. The end.
I know, like, that's what I didn't get about it. Like, what is the plot? It's just, that's all it is, just a bunch of events. Like, this guy doesn't like technology. Give him a new TV.
Maybe it's the message that old people are stupid and retarded and they die easily at new stuff.
Yeah, so basically it's like, HD's too real for some people. So this is the modern equivalent of, the train pulling into a station film and all the people running out of the theatre. This guy had a heart attack, because, he saw the wrinkles on Fiona Bruce's face and was just like, oh, fuck me!
I was hoping it's going to turn out to be like a joke thing, like what he's actually doing. He was just watching porn on his TV or something like that. Like he had like a VCR hooked up to his TV and was watching porn, and then he found the high definition porn, and then he had a heart attack.
I actually thought it was going to turn out to be something like, it turns out that he got addicted to the television or something like that, and that he pretty much that he stayed there to the point where he just couldn't, he didn't get up from it, and then he died on the sofa.
My other theory about it was that it was going to turn into be some sort of like lame SCP sort of thing, where it's like, oh, he's the only one holding the demon and the TV at check. He needs to watch it, but because they unplugged it and then gave him a good TV, the demon escaped or some bollocks.
Yeah, like, it wasn't very good. The thing is, it wasn't horrendously written.
No.
Like, the actual prose was fine. It just was quite dull, and the story wasn't compelling. You know, I think the guy's a decent enough writer, potentially. I think he could write some good stories, but this is not a good indicator, you know, of this guy's abilities. I hope he goes on to do better things. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, you can hit subscribe. We have a Patreon which basically pays for new socks, because where did the socks go? Who knows? You click a video. That one is similar to this one. The other video over there is different. Watch either of them. Doesn't matter. See you next time on Fat Albert.